Hi, I'm Jesse Rosen, president of the League of American Orchestras. And I've been following the conversation on the American Orchestra Forum blog. And like many readers, was drawn to the story about the Brooklyn Philharmonic, and in particular, the conversation about the Mos Def performance of Fred Shevsky's work about the prison uprising and eventual massacre at Attica Prison, which happened, I think, in the early 1970s. And, you know, it immediately took me back to my first day at college at City College in New York. And I was in a history class, and the teacher started talking about Attica, because it happened in August, I think, and here we were in September, and the teacher begins discussing everything about Attica, and then someone in the back of the class raises his hand and says, wait a second, that's not how it went. And the teacher says, well, excuse me, but why do you know what happened? And he said, well, I was in jail at Attica, and I just got out last week, so let me tell you what actually happened. And I thought, this is amazing. I mean, this is what education's supposed to be. And in fact, it's what our founding thinkers about public education in America, Horace Mann, John Dewey, you know, education was part of democracy. In order to be able to function in a world with diverse perspectives and mediate those and understand them and confront conflicting ideas, you had to have a place where everyone came together where that could occur, and that was what education was about. And I've always thought that orchestras have some parallels to this in terms of where they fit into democracy and what role they play. And I had an experience, in fact, one of the most, I think, profound experiences for me in the orchestra field that was totally surprising in many respects. And let me explain. This was a New Jersey Symphony Orchestra concert. They commissioned a new piece, an oratorio actually, on the life and death of Medgar Evers, the civil rights worker in Mississippi. And it was by Hannibal Peterson. And I went to the performance, and following the performance, there was a panel discussion. Hannibal was on the panel, of course. So was Emmett Till's mother. Emmett Till, I think the last African-American lynched in America in Mississippi. This was his mom. She was there. She described not the coffin being sent back to her in Chicago where she lived, but the 4 boxes that her son's body came in because it had been so mutilated. And this, for me, certainly was the closest I'd ever come to the civil rights movement and the experience of people who lived through it. But the amazing moment came in this discussion when an 11-year-old girl raised her hand, and she wanted to speak. She wasn't on the panel. And she sang in the chorus in the oratorio. And she said, you know, when this whole thing came up and I went to the first rehearsal, I never knew who Medgar Evers was. And I came to know of him through rehearsing for this piece. And she said, you know, the more I learned about it, the more angry I became that this could have happened. And I actually wanted to kill the people who killed him. But she said in the concert that night, this was the world premiere, she said she was standing there on stage singing and completely enveloped in this beautiful music, and she thought that this is really what, you know, I want my life to be about. It's about beauty, it's not about violence. And if I were to become violent and have these feelings like I want to kill somebody, I'm no better than the people who murdered Evers. And so right in front of our eyes, I mean, you saw the transformation of a young person's thinking and their outlook on life. And this was just amazing. I mean, here we were at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center at a symphony concert where this is not what we expect to have happen at symphony concerts, but here it was happening right before our eyes. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful moment in every way. And you know, whether it's in Brooklyn or New Jersey or San Francisco, you know, and whenever it was, 99, 2000, when the Maverick series was performed in San Francisco, and you thought, well, Mavericks, San Francisco, Michael Tilson Thomas, of course these things go together. The city, what its artistic traditions have been, this programming, it's just a natural fit. So, you know, it's different every place, and there's no formula, there's no, you know, system to this. However, you know, at the League of American Orchestras, many of you may not know about us, but we're here to help orchestras be successful in a lot of different ways. And one of the things that we have is it's a tool. It's called Your Orchestra, Your Community, and it doesn't tell you how to do community work, but what it does is it asks a set of probing questions to help an orchestra assess whether or not it's positioned to have the right kind of conversations, processes, relationships in place in order to do meaningful community engagement work. And I think over the last several years, we've seen in America's orchestras a wonderful growth, and I don't think too strong to say an explosion of activity in community engagement work that runs across a very wide spectrum of ways of being more integral, more essential to orchestra communities. So I'd like to say goodbye. Thanks for listening, and look forward to the forum next week. Bye-bye.